your alarm rings at 7:03 a.m., and your hand moves before your mind even wakes up enough to question it. In those first few seconds, it feels like your body is acting on a memory rather than a choice. The room is dim. Your phone glows like the only source of life, and your brain is still trying to remember where reality ended and sleep began. Your eyes stay half closed not because you're tired, but because waking up feels like stepping into cold water. You know this moment too well. The pause, the breath, the strange heaviness pressing down on your chest like the morning is already too much. But what you don't realize is that these first 10 seconds quietly decide the version of you that shows up today. Your body is awake, but your mind is still somewhere between comfort and responsibility, fighting an invisible battle you don't notice. And in that battle, your brain almost always chooses the easier side unless you interrupt it. Your brain lags behind your body, working through fog so thick it feels like moving through someone else's thoughts. And in that fog, the simplest action suddenly becomes a mountain. Those 10 seconds after the alarm are quiet, but inside your mind, they're loud. They decide whether you are stepping into the day or stepping away from it. You don't think about it, but your hand reaches for your phone with perfect accuracy, as if it practiced the motion 1,000 times. The screen's cold blue light hits your eyes before your mind has a chance to resist. In these moments, you're not making decisions, you're reacting to patterns built over years. And patterns are powerful because they feel like comfort, even when they hold you back. Sleep inertia pulls you downward, telling you to stay exactly where you are. Your brain hasn't fully switched on, so the emotional side takes the wheel. You aren't lazy, and you aren't resisting the day. Your brain simply isn't ready for effort yet. It wants warmth, familiarity, and anything that feels soft enough to land on without impact. This is why your phone wins every morning. It offers a tiny pocket of comfort disguised as distraction. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for focus and decision-making, is running at half power during these few seconds. Meanwhile, your emotional brain is firing at full speed, making choices for you. The brain loves predictable comfort more than uncomfortable clarity. And that's why even opening your eyes feels heavier than it should. You convince yourself you're just checking the time, or just seeing one notification. But deep down, you know this moment always pulls you deeper than you planned. Alarm, hesitation, phone, delay. It's the same sequence every morning, and yet it feels new because the fog makes everything slow. Your brain reaches for the phone, not because you want it, but because it promises a gentle landing. That promise is enough to win the first fight of the day. These tiny choices stack quietly, forming the emotional tone for everything that follows. And you don't even notice it happening because it feels so normal. Your hesitation becomes the foundation of your morning without you knowing. It's the first emotional cue your brain uses to predict the rest of the day. If the first feeling is heaviness, the day becomes heavier. If the first feeling is delay, the day becomes slower. You begin the morning in a fog your brain created to protect you from abrupt change. And you feel that fog again when you sit up, when you brush your teeth, even when you pick up your phone the second time. Even getting up feels like a negotiation with someone inside your mind who refuses to agree. And every second spent negotiating becomes another reason to stay still. You think waking up is hard because you're tired, but that's not the whole truth. The real reason is that your brain prefers the comfort of predictability over the discomfort of action. Your mind would rather stay in a soft, warm loop than face the sharp edges of responsibility. It's not weakness. It's biology doing its best to avoid friction. When you grab your phone, you aren't making a conscious choice. You're letting the most familiar pattern guide you into the easiest possible start. And the moment you check one notification, the loop locks in. Your brain relaxes slightly, giving you a reward for choosing comfort over effort. But this reward has a cost. It makes getting out of bed feel even heavier. The longer you stay in the loop, the harder it becomes to break free from it. The emotional weight of this moment grows silently. Your day begins with avoidance, not intention. You spend the rest of your morning trying to climb out of that first emotional dip. Everything takes a little more energy because the first choice of the day pulled you downward. When your brain starts the day avoiding discomfort, it continues avoiding discomfort in every decision. That's why even simple tasks feel disproportionately hard. You think something is wrong with you, but nothing is wrong. Your brain is simply following the path it learned to walk first thing every morning. It wants to protect you from the sudden shock of waking up. So it wraps you in hesitation, hoping you stay in the familiar. You tell yourself, just 5 more minutes, but your brain knows those 5 minutes are never just 5 minutes. They are signals, repetitions, and emotional training. Your brain learns more from micro moments than from big decisions. And these 10 seconds after the alarm are the most powerful teacher. But here's the part that goes unnoticed: patterns can be rewritten. The brain is not fixed, even if the habit feels eternal. Your brain adapts to the smallest movements you make. That means even a tiny shift can become your new starting point. Just sitting up is enough to interrupt the loop. Sitting up tells your brain, we're in motion now, and motion breaks hesitation. The second your feet touch the floor, your emotional brain loses control. The more logical, focused part of your mind takes over. Momentum begins in a small gesture, not a big decision. And momentum, once started, becomes self-sustaining. If you move just once in those 10 seconds, you rewrite the entire emotional script for the day. The brain follows that shift and builds your energy around it. Your day doesn't change because you were disciplined, it changes because you shifted the first second of the loop. That single shift tells the brain to choose clarity instead of comfort. Every morning gives you a quiet window to change everything. You don't need motivation. You only need one movement. People believe mornings fail because of laziness, but they fail because of hesitation. And hesitation is nothing more than the brain waiting for a familiar cue. When you break the cue, you break the loop. The loop cannot survive without its first step. Tomorrow, when your alarm rings, you'll feel that familiar heaviness again. But now you'll know it isn't a flaw, it's a pattern. You'll feel the fog, the slowness, the weight, but you'll also know that a single movement can shift the entire emotional tone of your day. Those 10 seconds aren't the problem, they're the doorway. And doorways are meant to be walked through, not avoided. The hesitation won't disappear overnight. But awareness gives you something stronger than comfort: choice. As you move, even slightly, your brain feels the signal. It understands that the day isn't something to fear anymore. And in time, these micro movements become your new morning rhythm. Your brain begins to trust the transition instead of resisting it. You wake up into clarity rather than fog. You begin the day choosing, not avoiding. It was only 10 seconds, but your brain builds your entire day around those 10 seconds. And when you shift them, everything else shifts with them. If this moment feels familiar, then you already know why you're here. And if something inside you felt seen in these seconds, you're exactly where you belong.